Christmas time. It's that time of the year again where you kind of forget about everything bad that happened throughout the year. Probably, who would have known? Who knows? But yeah. Anyways, hey on folks, it's me, littlepizzaboy64, with a very different style video that isn't really a different style. This is something that I'm gonna... This is something that I normally do by the end of the year because, well, I feel like it's fitting to just sit down in my living room, not be in the opposite ones, be next to the actual Christmas tree, have some random video in the background that kind of is Christmas related, so to say, but who knows? Who would have known? But I will tell you about 2025 as a whole, and let me just say, this year was absolutely hot garbage, honestly. Listen, I know there were some positives about 2025, I know, but there were so many negatives of 2025 that's kind of hard to think of 2025 as anything other than like the year, so to say. Because let's face it, honestly, just 2025 as a whole has been a very, very bumpy road for the most part. Maybe just from the beginning of the year or just straight up overall in general, it just felt really crap. Yeah. So let me go ahead and just talk about everything that's happened up to this point. Whether it could be some personal stuff related to me, or it could just be straight up just anything for that matter. It could be just general stuff. Remember, I live in the United States. Remember, I live in Southeast Louisiana. I think you gotta get a picture of what's going on. So before anything, yes, we already had some downsides to how 2025 was gonna look. We already had an idiot Actually, no. Let me say it again. Right out the gate, we already knew 2025 was gonna be shitty because we had a dumbass for president again, which I still don't know how that happened, but who knows? And not to mention there were also that right out the gate already gave a bit of a downside on what 2025 was going to be like for the most part. You already knew it was going to be crappy, very much so. A couple of other notes that was expected around 2025. Nothing much really. I mean, you kind of expected well, who knows, like, I don't know, like The Weeknd dropping Hurry Up Tomorrow, movies, stuff, so to say. I really don't know. But the whole point was, like, there wasn't really anything to expect with 2025 generally, but in my personal life, 2025 was meant to be the biggest deal yet, because guess what? Guess who was going to become 18? Guess who was going to graduate high school? Who would have thought? Okay, so let's actually start the year. I swear to God, did I just get an ad? Oh my God, hang on. YouTube! You know what? You're getting turned off. I hate YouTube, I swear to God. Okay, just ignore that. I didn't know that happened, but okay. Anyways, 2025 right out the gate started out with a pretty shitty start because, well, the first thing that literally happened when I woke up on New Year's Day was, oh, there was an attack in New Orleans. I think that kind of sets the mood for how 2025 is going to be like. Okay, so maybe a bit of a downward spiral so far, but don't mean anything, okay? Thoughts and prayers to the folks who got impacted by the New Orleans terror attack that happened in 2025. I feel like people neglect talking about it nowadays, which is understandable, but still. Some other notes of what happened in January, generally. California wildfires, Hurry Up Tomorrow drops, a couple other things. Personally, in 2025, like in January 2025, a very bit of a mental toll that happened in January. I'm not going to go too in depth because I think I already tarnished enough when it comes to talking about this subject. But just know that it really was pretty crappy, 2025, like the beginning of it. Like, it was really crappy about some personal stuff. That's besides the point. YouTube-wise, everything was generally going alright. We came back to reacting to SMG4 and going back to the routine, you feel? And little did I know what that was going to mean for the remainder of the year. Anyways, any other mental notes about January? January was just pretty much, oh yeah, Hurry Up Tomorrow drop. That's all I cared about. And I was right to care about that. I reacted to it, got the channel, banned. Like, the channel was unable to do anything for a week, so yeah, life lesson learned, I suppose. I don't know. February occurred, and nope, no mental notes about February. Other than the fact that I turned 18. Yeah, congrats to me. I turned 18 in February. Who would have thought, huh? Man, I promise you, turning 18 was like, it sounded like it was going to be a very big deal, but in reality, You became 18. What can you do when you turn 18? Well, let me tell you what you can do when you turn 18. No, seriously, what can you do when you turn 18? Like what? Can you vote? Buy lottery tickets? Sex? Probably that. Anyways, but for the most part, I was happy that I turned 18. It was a big deal for the most part because, you know, turning 18 is a big deal. It doesn't matter what people say. It's a huge deal when you turn 18 because that's your step into adulthood. And honestly, it could have come at a worse time for the most part. So yeah, moving on. March happened and that was it. March just happened for the most part. I know there was some, I think there probably would have been some stuff that happened in March, but for the most part, there wasn't really anything that happened in March. Like in my mind, I suppose. I think it was either March or April that it was April. March, nothing really happened. I don't think that anything happened channel wise. Again, I'm just getting it from the top of my head. I probably shouldn't have written this down, but nothing really happened in March as far as I noticed. Moving on to April. April was the big month. April was when I had to do the sequel video to the MXM versus Twitter thing, which was just great, is what I said, because it was by the end of April and moving into May. But another major thing that happened in April, I did get surgery for, don't worry about it, and I did make that video about explaining about what happened and, you know, so on and so on. And honestly, that really was just like, yeah, it happened, and that was pretty much it, because ever since then, nothing has really happened for the most part. Like, I just had to recover. And that was it. I just recovered, and then everything went okay. Like, there's no joke about that. It literally just went okay. Like, everything's fine down there. So, yeah, I suppose. Okay. And then by the time that it was around May, so on, pretty much. Around May was pretty much just like the whole MXM versus Twitter's sequel video, because of the whole thing that happened with the little fellas. I still remember that. Okay, that was such a weird time. Okay, like seriously, I'm still a little baffled about that, because it was the most stupidest argument imaginable. Honestly, just you know. But shout outs to my boys, the people that I defended, because they were the real ones, you know, and massive FUs to everybody on Twitter, honestly, because like seriously, they never come on, seriously. I'm still waiting for part 3 to drop, but that will be later. So yeah. And then also in April, I achieved to get 300 subscribers before I graduated from high school, because that was also my goal. My goal was to get to 300 subs before I graduated from high school. I don't know why, but I just wanted that. So yeah, and I got 300 subs because of that. And and of course, like I said, I graduated from high school, and I was really happy about that, because I was like, I'm finally done with with regular school, from elementary to middle to high school. I was officially done with school. You're going to college. You're going to college. That's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing. We're going to college. What they freaking do? So great. I had to get mentally prepared for that. But on the up still, I was free for the summer, because I was just, just pumping video up after video. That's what I was just doing. I was pumping out videos, because it was just like, I need to do something, and I got the opportunity to do that. So we can do that now. So I had the opportunity, and there we go. I ended up making some videos throughout the summer. The summertime, I promise, it's like such a weird time, honestly, for making YouTube, because like when I'm at the house, I just think about doing a random video and just like, maybe this could stick, this could possibly work. I don't know, who knows? Maybe you like it, maybe it gets 0 views, who knows? That's the magic of YouTube, isn't it? Just so great. Just so great. I really don't. Okay, like throughout the summer, nothing really happened. I would have gone to Guatemala like the other years, but unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, it really couldn't have worked out, honestly. Mainly because of expenses. We were running a little tight on money, and on top of that, unforeseen circumstances. So yeah, that's pretty much the mental note throughout the summer. So that means June and July, nothing really happened for the most part. It was just like me getting ready for college life and so on, just to adapt to it. I apologize if there was stuff that happened throughout the summer. Which, speaking of which, there was stuff that happened throughout the summer. And actually before that, I hate that I did that. So, but I'll talk about that later. I don't remember myself. And then August came around, and then that was the push to go to college. Just getting used to that, feeling really weird the first few days, but then you get used to it, and then it don't feel too bad. But then nowadays it's just like, why am I here again? Which is pretty much what it was for the most part. And that pretty much was the progression throughout the final few months of the year. It's just been like, go to college, wake up, do stuff. Oh hey, I gained some subs. That was pretty much it. And then as time went on, I got to 400, and we got all the way up to 500 subscribers. And let me tell you, when I hit 500 subscribers, it was an awesome deal. But I know why I hit 500 subscribers. Because around, oh my god, I still can't get over this. Of course, as you guys know, SMG4 is coming to an end, which is pretty much like the biggest curveball for this channel. Because now it's like, what are you gonna do for content? And I'm gonna get to that in a moment. Before I do, I just want to go ahead and give out my usual like appreciation messages and so on and so forth, and just talking about, you know, things are changing once again, so to say. So yeah, get mentally ready for that. So early in 2025, the big thing that happened, I finally started getting communications with the one, the only Zach Healthy. And with those communications, I got a bit of an insight about what stuff what he was planning on, so on and so on. And then later on, I started getting in contact with some other YouTubers that you may know and love very well. God damn it. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. Not for the most part. That eventually led to me coming back to Discord and just doing some stuff in the background. Case in point, I got in contact with these guys now, so to say. It started with just DMing Zach on Instagram, and it kind of led to just like, let's go in for a bit further, honestly. So for the most part, it was just like, okay, I know I now have contact with this guy. That's cool. And then it led to me also getting into some communication with other YouTubers, more specifically BlueJ06. You may know him as the Rookie. You know, he was literally the Rookie. This was his first year doing SMG4 reactions, while also being his last. it's really insane to think about that. But yeah. But that's how I got in touch, communications with him, because of, well, the MXM versus Twitter videos. In fact, I appreciate everybody who has commented in that video, giving some honest feedback, which was all relatively positive comments, who just gave their opinions on the whole situation, on how ridiculous it was. So yeah, I do want to give my thank yous for those people. But that also led to me getting in communications with with other people that I really started to consider like my YouTube buddies. It ranged with Zach Healthy, BlueJ, PM313, Dre's, Mario X Mega Galaxy, and a few other people along the way, such as, and you know, I'll throw them in on the screen because I feel so bad if I forgot their names. And yeah. Anyways, but that kind of led to this whole ordeal. Like, I started to get in communication with these guys. I eventually joined Zach's server. I got to know all these people in some way, and honestly, I think that's really like, I'm starting to see more of like what it's like being a YouTuber, getting in contact with a bunch of other content creators who share the same aspirations and so on and so forth. So for the most part, I appreciate everybody who I've gotten in contact with, despite me not really talking to them as much. I still appreciate, you know, you guys at least acknowledging my existence for the most part. So yeah, on a mental note though, it's just like, here's my mental note for 2025. 2025, easily hands down the most garbage year in my opinion. It was just it was so horrible, man. I promise you. Especially by December. Like, December was really when, like, yeah, shit's really awful right now. You know, I really don't want to get political because, you know, I know there's some bits of my audience do not like it when I talk about political stuff. But just please let it be known, like, December was really hard on us for the most part. It's just been like this huge shift of change for the most part because of racial profiling. Like I said, I make it clear, I live in Southeast Louisiana, so you obviously know the situation that's happening right now. And it's just been a lot of levels of uneasiness for the most part for all of us, for my family, you know, and it's not even like anything bad. It's just racial profiling is at its all-time high, which is very unfortunate that we still have to deal with that to this very day. But we have a president who encourages that. So what can you do in that regard? I don't know, to overthrow the government? I don't know. Look, there was examples of that, okay, but you may be wondering why we don't do that. Well, because we're not trying to start World War III or something like that. I don't know. I really don't know. But case in point, it's just been very uneasy these past few weeks, days, so to say. And it's really a big shift in what we normally would view the world as, especially like going outside, just seeing that how it feels empty now. In fact, 2025 as a whole, just because of the idiot in office, like that's what made 2025 pretty bad, honestly, for the most part. Just that alone, you already knew you were in for a bad time. Like, controversy after controversy. This man would not shut up. You turn on the TV, boom, you're seeing Orange Man. There you go. So yeah, Anyways, that's as far as political as I'm gonna get for the most part. Some other things that I want to point out that happened in 2025. I am ignoring the Saints and the Pelicans season. It just exists for the most part, even though the Saints are winning at the moment. So yeah, Tyler Shuck is the future. And I guess like other stuff like, I'm happy in college, I suppose, even though, tuition costs and stuff makes me scared. Even though I'm not paying for it, it still makes me scared. And just a bunch of other stuff that goes on in the background mental health wise. It's just not so easy. I also want to point out this year was definitely how the past few years it's just been like you got a title for each year for the most part. Like last year was an example of the year of getting exposed, because there was a lot of people who were getting exposed for being not so great people, so to say, for the most part. This year, 2025's label, the year of people dying for the most part, and just the year of shit, so to say. I say the year of dying because so many celebrities have passed away throughout 2025. Like, it's not even a joke on how many times I've seen, a news article popping up. Oh, this celebrity died. Oh, this person died. What do you mean Lamar Wilson died? R.I.P. Lamar Wilson. And so on and so forth. There's a bunch of people that passed away. Ozzy Osbourne. So many other people, dude. Like, a bunch of people died this year. And it was insane to think about. Like, a lot of important people died this year. It's just, wow. It's just great. It's crazy to think about that for the most part. Let's see. Some other mental notes about 2025. Just, it exists for the most part. So now, let's talk about 2026. What's going on for 2026? Well, 2026 for the most part is just like, I don't really know what to expect for 2026. I just expect more of the same, hopefully a little better, but not too terrible for the most part. I would like for things to be a little different for the most part. There's some big plans coming in for 2026, so to say, but also not entirely. As you guys know already, SMG4 reactions was like the cornerstone of it's like my magnum opus of content for the most part. It's the most reliable form of content that I post out, but that's not happening next year. SMG4 is coming to an end, as you know. So of course you guys know that there's a bunch of fan made content that I could easily react to. Obviously you got Meme Mayhem, you got UMB4, you got MXM Generator too. You got a bunch of wonderful folks that make awesome banger content, fan made content, and then they make their own series like NRG, the HCU, SMG Forever, stuff like that. You feel? So obviously those reactions are gonna go away. It just broadens my horizons about that stuff, but it also means a big part of this channel is gonna go away with the SMG4 reactions, the mainline ones, so to say. So, what am I planning for 2026 YouTube wise? I really have no idea. Okay, I seriously have no idea what I'm planning for 2026, honestly. I know there's still forms of stuff that will be coming out. I'm really hoping that the MXM versus Twitter part 3 video does release at some point. I don't want to end up canceling it based on what happens in the final movie, which, by the way, yes, today is the 24th. So, yeah, this video is getting released on Friday. This is the day before Christmas, and the video is getting released the day after Christmas, which is just hilarious. So based on what happens in the movie, in the final SMG4 movie, it could be a determination on how part 3 works out. Otherwise, it might end up just being scrapped, and I don't really want to do that because I did put a lot of time and effort into what I have so far in part 3. So, but hey, I can make it work somehow. I already made it work because people were already bitching on Twitter about the stupid thing about what happened in One Last Splatfest. I was really frustrated that day. I really was. Okay, so yeah. Any plans for 2026? I guess it's just about figuring out some original content. What can I make the channel be instead of just reactions? Because it really is just reactions with the occasional, oh, here's an original video. So, yeah, because recently there has been a lot more reactions than any other form of content. Like, this is like, I'm well aware of that. Okay, I really am well aware of that. But I'm really trying to figure out what I can do for 2026. Which, by the way, if you have a suggestion, I might look into it. I might not do it, but I'll look into it. And of course, obviously I'm going to be helping out my guy, Zach Healthy. Hopefully, with some stuff for his series. I hope so. I don't know. I really do actually. And that also might be helping out some other YouTubers as well, based on what they put out and stuff like that. So who knows? Maybe that could happen. But I'm making that promise right now, even though I haven't even told the man that I was gonna help with something. I don't know. But who knows? And like I said, I am striving to make original content. I mean, you remember the Jonathan show, that the first episode. Thank you for watching that. If you did, I doubt you did, but I didn't forget about it. I just haven't made the second episode yet because I don't know how you. I don't know how you continue with that. Okay, just work with me, okay, on that. But I don't know if you guys like that series. I don't know if you do, but there you go. And just some other stuff going around as well. Just like we're figuring out. I'm trying to figure out some stuff that hopefully could work out for you guys. Okay, I'm really trying to make some content. Okay, and I hope you guys enjoy said content. All right, we hit the 20-minute mark. Okay. I think I'm just gonna. I think that's just gonna be it. So for the most part, 2025. You were definitely a shitty year, okay? There's no doubt about it. You were an absolutely terrible year, okay? And I'm happy that this year is finally coming to a close because despite some positive stuff that happened this year, i.e. Hurry Up Tomorrow, I graduated, and maybe a couple other things, this year has been absolute dog shit. I don't care what y'all say. It's been awful. An awful year. And it's worse because I think it's probably because I'm an adult now, so I view the world even worse, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm really hoping that things could turn around for 2026. And like I said, I really don't know what I'm going to plan for 2026. I am really striving for original content, some skits, who knows. But yeah, it all depends on how these final few days of 2025 go around and how 2026 works in its entirety. So yeah. And yeah, like I said, this is before the SMG4 movie, so I don't know what's the final movie about, what happens, so on and so forth. But all I hope for is that it's one proper conclusion to the show, and I hope nobody dies. And that's pretty much it. And I'm literally okay. You know, just for funsies, I'll say it. There could still be a chance. Please, there could still be a chance, bro. There could still be a chance. I'm not gonna say what it is specifically, but you probably know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching this year in review, whatever video. Just like I don't know, I'm just gonna do this from now on every single year. Just like give general talks about the year entirely. Just yeah, and yeah. I forgot to mention 7. Damn. Again, shout outs to everybody that knows me YouTube wise. Zach Healthy, Blue Jay, PM, Andre, 7. Should I name some other people? Haley, Arsenal, Miranda, Spectre, Max, Lexi, Ali. I don't know. I feel weird saying the names, but just let it be known, alright? Anyways, I think I'm just gonna end it right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, follow the socials. And I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas, so to say. I don't know, maybe I might upload this on Christmas, I don't know. But anyways, in case though, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, you know, based on what you do, and Happy New Year as well. So anyways, on that note, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Later. No, we can leave it on, just...